Hi everyone, this is Annindita Palaus, and today's video is about one of the books that I actually read a few years ago called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. In fact, I had planned this video quite a long time back, but somehow I just it just got lost and I started making other videos instead and I forgot all about it. And then just recently I remembered about making this video again, and so here it is. So I'll only be discussing the top 5 regrets that Bronnie Ware, the writer of this book, talks about. I'll not go into a whole lot of detail. I really feel that this is a book that everybody should read. And it might sound to some people that this is going to be a depressing or sad or gloomy topic, just because for so many people, death is such a sad and depressing and gloomy topic. However, that is just not the way I personally have ever looked at death. In fact, I feel like death is what gives meaning to our lives. Just imagine for a minute being a vampire and having to live in that body eternally. Imagine living on this planet for 10,000 years and still not dying and just going on. You have seen the stars and the sun and the moon, the sunrises, the sunsets, the flowers and the animals, and you have seen it all year after year after year for tens of thousands of years. There is nothing new anymore to see or do or be or have. It doesn't sound as exciting then, right? To be living on and on. I know death is such a big topic for so many people. It has so much fear around it that people don't even want to think about it. They don't even want to talk about it. A lot of people often think that death is like some kind of a punishment from God. So from that perspective, it might seem like the top 5 regrets of the dying. It is a sad or depressing book to read. On the contrary, it is not at all a sad and depressing book to read. On the other hand, if anything, it can be a very inspiring book to read. Because when you remember that our life is actually, our time on this planet is very limited. And in fact, that is what makes our life so valuable, so precious. If we would know that we are going to live forever, we are just going to be not valuing our time as much. We will not be valuing life or anything. Right now, if you see the sunrise or sunset, you feel such appreciation or gratitude. But when you know that the sunrise and sunset is going to be there for eternity and you have eternity to live, there would be no gratitude, there will be no appreciation, there will be no enjoyment of life because it's always there. We value life so much because we know that it is limited. So it is really death that gives meaning to our lives. And so when we remember and we keep that in mind at all times, then we don't take our lives or anybody else's lives for granted. And it also helps us to stay on track with who we truly are. So without further ado, let me get to the 5 main points that I wanted to talk about. And the very first thing that the author talks about, the first regret of the dying, is I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And I feel that this is so important. In fact, I'll keep this a very short video, but what I would highly suggest is that go through this video again, write down these points, and really take some time to ponder and look at your own life. How have you been doing any of these things? Because I know that in varying degrees, we are all guilty of doing one of these 5 things. And a little bit of mindfulness would really bring a lot of wisdom in the way we live our life on a daily basis. So take some time later on, write down these 5 points and think about it. That how are you doing any of these things and what are some small little things that you could start changing from today, not tomorrow, not next month, but right from today itself. What are a few things that you could start doing differently so you don't have these 5 regrets at the time when you are at the end of your life? Because at one point or the other, believe it or not, no matter how young you are today, it is gonna happen. So the very first thing, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are gonna resonate with this deeply because in our society we have been programmed so deeply to do things which others are expecting of us, and even if that means not listening to our intuition, even if it costs us our intuition, even if it means that we are not going to follow our own hearts or our own guidance system, so to speak. And eventually, people just get so trained into ignoring their own inner calling that before they know it, they are so lost in getting others' approval that they have already forgotten who they truly are and what their life purpose is. So, this is a great thing to always remember, to have the courage to live your own life and not always feel so compelled to do what you think others are expecting of you. The second regret that the author talks about is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And that is another thing I see, especially very common in Western society. There are a lot of people, a lot of self help gurus, a lot of business coaches and trainers, and just people, just regular people in general, talking about the importance of hard work. And I don't know why nobody talks about smart work. Nobody talks enough about loving what you do. Everybody is just talking about, work hard, grind, grind, grind till you achieve what it is that you want to achieve. And that's all fine with me if you enjoy working hard. But honestly speaking, I don't enjoy working hard. But the thing is, and here's the good part, that I believe that when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work hard. In fact, a few years ago, I used to teach my Reiki workshops from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. And my energy levels would be high, the same throughout. And sometimes people by the end of the class, they will be wondering, how come you have so much energy at the end of the day? It is because I enjoy doing it so much. In the recent years, I have cut down on the number of hours just because I noticed that people were getting really tired sitting in the classroom for such a long time. So, just for that, I've reduced the hours. Plus, lately, because of the pandemic, I've been doing a lot of webinars, and of course, I have the digital home study program, which people can just take anytime they want at their own convenience and time. But that was just an example of, when you do what you love, you don't feel tired. And this is just one example. I'm also a realtor, a full time realtor, and because I do what I love, I don't feel tired of doing what I like to do. I never feel that I'm working so hard because I love what I do. And in fact, when there is a period, if I'm not busy doing what I like to do, it is that time when I actually feel tired of relaxing too much. Of course, I like relaxation, I like to chill and rest too, for sure. But too much of that, and then I'm tired of that, and I want to get busy again doing what I love to do so much. So I feel when you are doing what you really love to do, then it wouldn't feel like hard work. The reason people are emphasizing so much on the importance of hard work is just because people are spending a lot of energy doing things that, even though they are saying that it is their highest excitement and they really love it, but there is a possibility that they don't really love it as much, because if they would, then it wouldn't feel like hard work and grinding. And so I suggest that you start looking at your own work and your own life. Does it feel like hard work? And do you believe that you have to work very hard to be successful? There is no doubt that, of course, you have to take some kind of steps. If, let's say, if you want to start your own business, chances are that just by meditating or visualizing, the business is not going to start by itself. You will eventually have to set up the business. You will have to set up the company. You will have to do some stuff that has to be done, of course. But the thing is, when you really like what you're doing, then you are excited. You have enthusiasm. And that excitement and that enthusiasm gives you so much energy that it keeps you going. And of course, we're all humans. At the end of the day, we will feel a little tired and we will need to rest and relax and rejuvenate. That's just part of the process. So, when you are in tune with your inner guidance system, with your intuition, you know when to work, how much to work, and you will also know when to stop and when to rest and relax and play. That is just the flow of life. When you are in tune with the flow of life, you know when it is time for what. You don't have to get burned out working, but it needs some amount of mindfulness. It needs some amount of being in touch with your inner guidance, with the flow of life, with your intuition. The third thing that the author Bonnie talks about is I wish I had had the courage to express my feelings. And this is something that honestly I still have to work on to a certain extent. I've become way better than I used to 10 years ago. This used to be a challenge area for me to express my true feelings, whether it is feeling of love and appreciation or whether it is feeling of even anger. And of course, anger is also a valid feeling as long as you let people know that, this is something that is not acceptable to you, but not when you are just throwing a crazy tantrum. And when you are suppressing any of your feelings, whether it is love or whether it is anger, whatever it is, if you're suppressing it, that is very unhealthy for yourself and for the relationship. So I've personally definitely gotten much, much better with that. But I feel like I can do so much better at expressing my gratitude and love for the people whom I really love and care about a little bit more. That would be better. But yes, I guess we all are work in progress. So think about the ways in which you have not been expressing your true feelings. It could be maybe you have not been expressing how much you love somebody, how much you appreciate somebody, or it could also be, just telling somebody that, hey, I need my personal space. You are meddling in my affairs too much, so back off just a little. It could be that too. It could be positive and negative feelings, and both are valid feelings. And if you are feeling a little offended by the way somebody is treating you, instead of suppressing it, it is always good to express it. Of course, not express it in a volatile manner, but in a reasonable manner. Just, letting them know that this is not acceptable, where your boundaries are, what you expect from the relationship, how you expect to be treated in a polite manner. And I'm pretty sure in most times, the people who are treating you maybe in a manner that you don't like, they are not even aware that they are doing something that you are actually not liking. Because often many people, they are not expressing their feelings, their honest feelings and opinions. And at least I can say that, yes, when I was growing up for a really long time, like even in my 20s, I was like that I would never express my dislike for anything. I always felt like I had to say yes to everything. I just couldn't say no. So it was a learning experience in my life to learn to say no to things that I don't like or that doesn't make me happy. So don't feel obligated to always be saying yes to everything, and know your limits and be in touch with your feelings. If something is not bringing you joy, don't feel obligated to say yes. Of course, when it comes to job, often people end up saying yes to a lot of things, even when they don't want to do it. And I understand it's because the job is paying your bills and things like that, and you feel like you have to do these things. Of course, again, just become mindful of these things and start taking some baby steps maybe towards finding a job that does make you happy, where you don't feel like you have to be doing things that you don't really want to do, because it is your life and we only have so much time on this planet. So we better make the most of it. The fourth thing that Bronnie talks about is I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And this was another regret of the dying, because the author, I believe I didn't mention this before, but the author actually worked with a lot of people who were in the end stages of their life. And that is how she got to know these people very, very closely and very personally. And the book actually comprises of her own experience with these people and what she got to know. And she decided to make it into a book. So this was another big thing that she came across, is that people not staying in touch with their friends anymore. And honestly, this is another area that I personally need to work on, because the kind of person that I am, I can live like a hermit for a really long time. I'm not extremely social. When I'm with people, I can socialize. It's not like I am introverted, but I'm not extremely extroverted either. I think of myself as an ambivert. So when I'm in a social situation, I can socialize. When I'm at home, I can just, like during the pandemic, I it was very easy for me to just stay at home and not socialize at all. Of course, initially nobody was expecting for the situation to go as long as it went on for. So initially I was thinking it's just going to be over in a few months, no big deal. And it was not difficult for me at all to be not socializing. Later on, yeah, there are certain things about the social aspect of life that I was missing a little bit. But overall, I can literally live a very quiet, peaceful, and solitary life. And that wouldn't be a problem for me usually. But I have also come to realize that true friends are definitely a blessing, and it's nice to stay in touch with them. And the life that we share with each other, the experiences that we share with each other, that adds a lot of richness to life. So I have consciously made this personal choice to be more in touch with my friends. I can still do much better. I know sometimes I lose track of that, but I'm doing better than before, that's for sure. And then the fifth thing that people have regrets about is, I wish I had let myself be happier. And I feel like this is one of the biggest things. There are so many ways in which we don't allow ourselves to be happy. When we are little kids, fine, there are so many different things. You have to do what your parents tell you to do, what your teachers tell you to do, and things like that, because you are completely dependent upon them. But sometimes people forget when they grow older that they are no more dependent upon anybody. They have a job, they can take care of themselves, and yet they keep on behaving in a manner as if their life depends on others, and they have to keep on pleasing people, and they have to keep on doing what they think others are expecting of them. But that is a complete personal choice, and you don't really have to. For instance, a few years ago, I once saw someone I know watching a movie that they found very boring, but they couldn't stop watching it. And I asked that, why are you watching it if you don't like it? And their response was that they started watching it and now they feel like they have to finish the movie. They just cannot leave a movie midway. If they start a movie, then they just have to finish it. The same thing also happened once. I heard somebody else talk about, if they start reading a book, even if they don't like it, they just feel like they have to finish it. Small little things like that. It might seem like, but it's just a book, it's just a movie, no big deal. But the thing is, these small little habits, they build up on each other. And as life goes on, we don't even realize how we have trained ourselves to keep on doing something that doesn't even make us happy. That literally that adds zero value to our lives. But we just keep on doing it, not because somebody else is even expecting you to be doing it. It's not, nobody's gonna judge you if you don't finish the movie. Nobody's gonna judge you if you don't finish that book that you started reading and you find it so boring. Only you are going to judge yourself. It's your own judgment. So not only are we trying to fit into others' expectations of what we think they expect from us, but we have all these judgments about ourselves too. All these limitations that we have placed on ourselves, thinking that if I start something, I will have to finish it. Well, life is not a race. You don't necessarily have to reach the finish line. Same with relationships. I see sometimes people staying in a bad relationship just because, especially this is very common in East. In the West, not so much, but in the Eastern tradition is much more common. So again, life is not a race. Just because you started something without realizing how it's actually going to be, and later on you realize that it's not what you thought it's going to be, you have the option to course correct, to change the direction of your life. Because if you don't change the direction of your life, then who will? It's your life. You are the one who has changed the direction of your life. It's not just a matter of a book or a movie or small little things like that, but it's about what makes you happy, becoming more mindful, becoming more conscious about what is really adding value to your life. If something is not adding any value to your life, it doesn't make sense to just keep on doing it just because you have some crazy idea in your mind that you have to reach the finish line. Like I said, life is not a race. So those were the top 5 regrets of the dying, and I would highly recommend reading this book. I have personally found it an extremely good book to read. And let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts? What are some of the areas that you found out today after watching this video that probably you need to work on? And maybe some of the things that you want to start changing starting today. And of course, like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and share this video with people you think would benefit from listening to it. Also, if you're interested in learning Reiki or meditation or creating more abundance in your life, then check out the links below in the description. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.